What is the current Lithuanian business landscape like, and what trends have you seen in foreign interest?
We are, of course, being a small economy in relative terms. We need, as I say, to be better than the best, and that's what we are trying. And Lithuania does not have big natural resources, if you could say. We don't have oil reserves, gas reserves, so any kind of very valuable minerals, we could sell to the world. All we have is basically us Lithuanians, and that's why the brain power of our Lithuanians, our big hearts, what makes us Lithuanians, and that's what we are offering to the world. I think we are very good in building infrastructure where it's important. So we are, for example, we have the fastest Wi-Fi anywhere in the world. In Lithuania, the fiber penetration is one of the highest in the world, so the connectivity to the fiber cable, and meaning that you can get the fastest internet possible, is most advanced in Europe, and not just in Europe. At the same time, we have a very good educational system, and we have very bright people who are eager to learn more about the world. There is almost 90% of Lithuanians speak at least two languages, two foreign languages, which places those people, of course, in quite good positions to be attractive as a human power for a number of companies, and that's what we see. Just recent years, Lithuania became one of the fastest growing so-called shared service centers economy, where we would get offices of such companies like Barclays, Western Union, different Scandinavian banks, Intermedics from the United States, the one which is producing software for the emergency services, the one which helps to give the injured the best service possible, especially when there is some natural disaster or any kind of disaster, where there are a number of people being carried by emergency cars to the hospital. This software helps you to bring the person, because every second is valuable, to the right hospital, with a team there already prepared and knowing what kind of treatment you already received in the car. Information is flying real time to the office or in the hospitals which we are expecting already to arrive, and to help to save a life. This company called Intermedics also was the most recent United States company which invested in Lithuania, in Rolandas. They started from 25 people. Now they are already having close to 800. And I talked to CEO just a couple of months ago, it doesn't seem to be a limit. So soon they will be going over 1,000 people. So all the software and the technical support is actually happening in Lithuania. And that's, I think, is a very strong certificate how bright our people are. And they could be, a part of any important project, and however complex it could be. And that's why I would say that yes, it's us, Lithuanians, who's very well educated, knowing the languages, having a good infrastructure, in those times where it's not so much matters where you are, because a lot of the products are being created in one geographical spot and spreads out right away. It's not about factories. There are 3 million of Lithuanians. We will not be building factories, become a big factory site. So the brains and what we are having could be used in, I'd say, different ways. The machines could manufacture. We could help, to create software or to provide the service, the best service possible for any single industry. The other sector which is very important, I think, to stress is logistics, which is also speaks loudly about the capacity to trade of Lithuania. So 12% of our gross domestic product is actually coming from logistical services, meaning transportation, using the seaport. So we make goods move. Even though if we are not producing, we help goods move from east to west, from south to north, and vice versa. Just being very business-minded and earn our living just helping the goods move. That's also, I think, it's very important, because countries which were able to trade, they always were very successful. We are very open, we are very supportive of any trade deals in European Union is discussing, because Lithuania is a part of European Union. I do hope that one day we will have an investment and trade agreement between the United States and not Lithuania, but European Union. Of course, with Lithuania also, because we are part of European Union, which will help us to set the standards for the world trade overall, because we are the most important economic blocs, United States and Europe. If we agree on something, and on certain standard, of course, that will impact anyone else, because then it accounts for a big part of the world economy. And of course, if you want to produce and to be a part of this market, you will take the standard which was agreed between European Union and United States. On other economic industries, I would say that for the small economy as we are very diverse economy. So we still having a sector like agriculture, which is very important. It's a traditional one. But at the same time, you would see that there are companies which are producing biotechnology products, lasers. In some lasers, we're having a very substantial part of the world market. And we are cooperating with United States companies to produce, for example, at the moment, the strongest or the most powerful laser in the world, which will be built for one European institution close to Prague. It's an institution this laser will be used for experimentation as a research and science. So that's quite a number of sectors which are very important, and those are very diverse. And notwithstanding, they said that we are just 3 million people. It's like one big city in the US.
Lithuania has made significant progress in gaining energy security this summer with the LNG terminal and the recent commissioning of the Nordbalt and Litpol Link electricity interconnectors. How would you evaluate Lithuania's energy security and dependence from Russia, and what do you think the Baltic region should focus on moving forward?
It's a very good question. I would say that I mentioned in the previous answer quite a number of sectors we have, but energy is one of those new sectors, I would say, which is starting to boom. And the building of LNG, it opened us the doors to quite a new industry, I would say, because this LNG terminal could be used, of course, for the gas transportation and the gas use for domestic purposes, but at the same time, it could be used in addition to the bunkering capacity, building a small LNG, so it could be like a wholesale hub to bring gas and then use the small LNGs to distribute gas for the ships in the Baltic Sea, for example, because of the new requirements since last year. More and more ships are actually changing the fuel they are using in the Baltic Seas because of the pollution purposes, to reduce the pollution of the sea. And the LNG is one of the sources which could be used for the fuel for the shipping industry overall. So that opens us new business opportunities to provide this gas distribution network in the Baltic region. But of course, the most important and the biggest purpose why we build it, it's of course energy security issues. LNG changed dramatically the Lithuania situation. Currently, we can buy gas wherever it's cheapest, so we choose ourselves from where we will buy gas. Just last year, we had not such choice. So the only gas we were able to obtain it was from Russia, using the one source and the one pipeline, and that was it. Of course, you could guess that whatever price was asked from us, we were having no ability to choose. We were paying basically this price. That's why, of course, it's bad for your economy. And we were paying for a long time a political price, if you could call it, because it was difficult to explain it by economics, why it's so high, and why the price in Germany, which is 1,000 kilometers away from us, that the gas should travel extra 1,000 kilometers, is cheaper than in Lithuania. But this year is the first year when we have this possibility to choose. We will be buying more gas from other countries than from Russia. That's the first time ever, and that's a strong message for also Russia if the gas will be cheap and enough, and the price will be good, we could buy from Russia. But if we could be able to buy cheaper gas somewhere else, of course we will go somewhere else and buy the gas there. So of course it puts Russia in different light, and there is strengths to dictate us what price we should be charged for gas, so we are able to choose on our own. The other electricity transmission lines also add important component to our energy independence, because it connects us to Sweden. Since last year, we are able to import electricity from Scandinavian market, and the other electricity transmission line connects us to Poland, and through Poland, of course, to Western Europe, and that eliminates this island status, energy island status of Lithuania, and not just Lithuania but the Baltic states, because we are not connected to European market. Currently, we are connected to European market of electricity, and that's why I think we are much more secure, and we are able to reduce the price for electricity, which also helps industries, but not just industries. The common people, it helps. Their energy bill is going lower because of those things what we developed. But in the future, if to look at the future, we still look at one big project, which will take time to develop. It's difficult probably to explain to the people who are not technicians what does it mean, but what we call it a synchronization project. So it means that our electricity grid will, we hope, one day will be synchronized with the Western European grid. Currently, it's still a part of Russia-Belarus grid. So the decisions on maintenance, overlooking the grid specifications, they're still being made in Moscow. And that's why we think that the final and, or to say, ultimate independence, what we could achieve, just when we will get disconnected from the Russian-Belarusian grid and get connected or synchronized with Western European grid. Otherwise, energy 2015, it was really energy independence year for Lithuania. And the LNG terminal actually also has a very fitting name, which is called Independence. So this LNG station is a floating station. It was built in South Korea and traveled the globe with independence on its side to Lithuania for a couple of months. So it was a good advertisement that independence actually reaching the shores of Lithuania.
What message would you like to share with Lithuanian youth around the world?
The message is very simple. I think it's important for us to stay together. It doesn't matter how far we are away from each other. And therefore I would encourage all these projects which encourage Lithuanians staying away. And it doesn't matter if you are first generation Lithuanian, second generation Lithuanian, third or fourth or fifth. I think if your heart is willing to explore where your ancestors are from, you are most welcome. So, and all Lithuanians, even the ones who doesn't speak Lithuanian, are Lithuanians, because it's not just language which makes us Lithuanian. There's something special, I think, about the country, and it's not just language. Language is a very important part of it, but it's not only language which makes us, and helps us, of course, to stay together. That's why I would say that I would very much encourage all the contacts which keeps us together.